Namaskar everyone, this is Meenakshi Narula and I welcome you to my channel Mentoring the Mentors. We are back again with another insightful session at Mentoring the Mentors so that we can transform your tea time into a learning experience. Today we are going to explore some of the most important maxims of teaching. So first let's understand what do we mean by the term maxim, right? So if we talk about maxim, before we talk about what are the different kinds of maxims in teaching, let's first understand what is the meaning of word maxim. Maxim is a short, well-known statement which expresses a general truth or it can be the rule of conduct, and it comes from the Latin word maxima, right? Which means something of greatest or maybe most important principle. That is what we talk about and we understand from the term maxim. And we can also say that a maxim is a concise rule or saying that good action or the good behavior is to be followed, and accordingly it guides us, it scaffolds us, right? So let's take example. In our daily life we keep on using different kinds of maxims, right? Like honesty is the best policy, or maybe other such maxims talking about some journal life truths, right? So likewise, if we talk about teaching, there are also certain maxims. One of the maxim is from simple to complex. Like before we introduce the complex sentences or complex topics, we first need to talk about the simple sentences or the simple concepts, right? So now let's talk about the different kinds of maxims that are there in teaching, and we all should be aware of that. And as per the different age groups, different topics, different subjects, as per the need, we can use the different maxims, right? But first let us have a look at different maxims. We will be talking about 10 maxims of teachings, and they are simple to complex, known to unknown, as you can see here on the screen, even seen to unseen, concrete to abstract, particular to general, and whole to part, indefinite to definite, psychological to logical, analysis to synthesis, and at last we will be talking about nature, senses, and self study. So we will be talking about these 10 maxims. Let's first talk about the simple to complex maxim. It means simple topics should be taught first and then the teacher should move on to the complex topics. For example, in school, as and when we teach, we talk about basic arithmetic operations first and then we talk about the complex topics, right? Why do we need to do it? It reduces the cognitive load, and the children, they are able to grasp the fundamental ideas before tackling the advanced topics, and even it ensures the natural learning progression of the students, learning letters, for example, before words, and words before sentences. And even we talk about prior knowledge is being taken care of before we introduce any concept, be it a simple concept, and then slowly and gradually we keep on building the complexity. So the process is first prior knowledge, then simple concepts, and then we build on complexity. And the children, they are able to master the foundational concepts before moving to HOTS, that is higher order thinking skills. I hope you are aware of this term HOTS, which is higher order thinking skills, and it also enhances retention and reduces any kind of confusion or ambiguity, right? And it also ensures meaningful learning, right? For example, we teach nouns and verbs before even introducing the sentences. We even talk about events before we talk about cause and effect. First, the children, they understand, they know, they make familiar with the events, and then we talk about what was the cause of the event and what could be the effect of that particular event. Likewise, we talk about atoms first in science and then we introduce the molecules. This is how we keep on moving from simple to complex. Dear teachers, now talk about the second maxim, which is known to unknown. Right? This teaching maxim suggests introducing the new information by connecting it with what students already know. For example, when a teacher wants to teach the children about how to draw a flower, she tells them to draw a circle first and then go ahead with the small circles around it. I mean, create petals around it and then draw the straight line. And so, slowly and gradually, the children they are able to draw a flower by just using different kinds of shapes, right? So, what we need to do in this known to unknown maxim is begin with the familiar concepts first, gradually introduce new and unknown ideas, and is this way students will be able to relate the new knowledge to what they already know. It becomes very easy for the students to get the new knowledge when we relate the same with something that they already know, right? And even when we talk about fractions, right, don't we first talk about the slices of pizza, and maybe we talk about the pieces of the chocolate, or maybe how the children they are going to distribute the toffees and all, then only we talk about fractions, right? We first talk about the local history while teaching social sciences, right? When the students they are familiar about the local events, the local history, then only we go ahead with the world history, right? And we suppose you are a science teacher and you want to introduce the concept of gravity. First you make students understand when we throw any object or when it falls down from a tree, or what it falls down, it doesn't go up. Why it is that? This is because of gravity. So first you talk about something which is familiar. You will always ask the students, have you seen any leaf being coming down, any flower, any fruit, whatever it is, whenever it breaks from the branch of the tree, where does it go? So accordingly you first talk about the familiar concepts and then you build on the unknown concepts. So it is moving from known to unknown, because the familiar connections help in better memory, recalling and understanding. Suppose I know one person who is known to me and who helps me understand, who makes me familiar with a person who is unknown to me. So this is how the known information creates a bridge between us, that is a learner, as well and the unknown information. So students they feel more comfortable and confident while progressing from known to unknown. This is how the students they are encouraged to connect the dots, right? They will be able to make the logical connections, right? And even this kind of methodology, this maxim is used at all the levels of education. Maybe you are talking about the preschool, that is the balvatika or the kindergarten, or maybe you are talking about higher education. My dear teachers, now let's talk about seen to unseen maxim of teaching. This maxim suggests that teaching students about things that they can easily see, they can easily understand first, and then using the knowledge to explore maybe the past or maybe the future, right? So, means we talk about the familiar concepts first, and then we talk about unfamiliar, that is unseen concepts. Okay, so the children they are able to grasp new knowledge more effectively if connected to prior experiences. They will be able to relate it better, and the learning, the teaching process, it becomes more engaging and meaningful. So there is a smooth transition in knowledge, and the even cognitive load is reduced, right? When something we have already seen and something that we have not seen, like that is not locally available, and when once we understand the concept, the things that are locally available in our vicinity, we will be able to relate to the things that we have not seen, that are not available to us, we are not able to check that out, right? Maybe through the virtual experiences now everything is available to us, but first we need to get an exposure about something that we can see, right? So for example, if we talk about the local weather changes. First of all, the students, they understand how the local weather changes occur, what are the different weather conditions in the surroundings in the area where they reside, and then they talk about the global warming, right? Then only we'll be able to introduce the bigger concepts that they cannot even see, or they can feel, or they can relate to, right? And even we introduce the basic arithmetic concepts first, and then we go ahead with algebra or other difficult operations. So moving from knowing known words to the new vocabulary, this is how we go ahead with that. The terminology, the words that the children, they use for communication, maybe in their local language, regional language, in their mother tongue, and then we introduce a new vocabulary. It can be related to the same language, like we talk about synonyms, we talk about antonyms, the opposite words. Like this is how we introduce the new vocabulary in the same language. Also we can talk about how do we pronounce, how do we use the different kinds of words for the same word in the mother language, right? For example, if we say pani, it is water, aqua, right? And how jal, neer, wari, we use different kinds of words. This is how we will be able to introduce the new vocabulary starting from the known words. Likewise, talking about sciences, first we talk about the daily experiences, and then we introduce the various theories. It may be in the last slide also we talked about gravity. First we talk about the objects falling down, and then we can introduce gravity. We can show them how the friction works, and in the daily life, maybe showing the soles of the shoe, or maybe something else, right? Wear and tear of the different objects. And then we can talk about the concept of friction. It makes the students confident to understand the objects, the concepts, the theories, moving from seen to unseen. Dear teachers, now let's talk about concrete to abstract maxim. This maxim states that students grasp concepts when they interact with the tangible objects before diving into the abstract ideas, right? For example, imagine teaching geometry to the students. Instead of starting with the abstract concepts like angles, shapes, we can begin by talking about the different physical objects, maybe building blocks, right? They'll be able to use that and they can create different shapes. Once the students, they are familiar with the concrete shapes, we can easily introduce the abstract terms or maybe the principles of geometry. So if we talk about the key words, first is begin with the examples from the students' daily lives, right? As we talked about using different blocks or the shapes available in the surroundings, and then going ahead with the angles, right? And we will be able to introduce physical objects first, so that they are able to relate with the concepts, because these are tangible objects, and they can easily move from concrete to abstract. So let them describe what they see, what they touch, and they'll be able to experience that, and they can share their experience, and through that experience we will be able to build the connections, right? And even let me tell you, we can use such kinds of things like experiments. They are there, the children, they use the different equipment, and role playing is there, demonstration is there. So these kinds of strategies, if we use, we will be able to make the students understand, first of all, have hands-on learning, that is a concrete experience, and then they will be able to understand the abstract things, right? So we will be able to relate the new concept to the students based on the past experiences to create any kind of relevance. So gradually move from real objects to the basic pictures or the diagrams. For example, charts, models, different kind of infographics, they help in the transition from concrete to abstract. So use such kinds of strategy. I have already mentioned experiment, role play, demonstration, and here I'm talking about these charts, models, infographics, etc. So once they grasp the concept, then only you introduce the principle or the theory that they can't visualize, that they can't, some emotions when we talk about, like moving from touch and then going ahead with that kind of emotions. So promote any kind of discussion and problem solving skills, so that that will solidify the understanding of the abstract concepts. So, this is how we move from concrete to abstract. First, give them hands on experience through the experiments, role play, demonstration, charts, model, infographics. They will be able to present through that. And then, once they understand, move from concrete to abstract, then you can have some discussions, problem solving skills, right? So that you will be able to solidify the understanding of abstract concepts. This is how you can move from concrete to abstract, and you can use this maxim as per need for different classes, for different age groups. Let's talk about particular to general maxim, teaching concepts through specific examples before the general principles. So this maxim makes us understand, like, we will be teaching the students through specific examples first, and later we should introduce the general rules. Let's talk about the skill subjects. Imagine I am a photographer and I need to introduce the concept of the general principles that my students, they have to take care while taking the photographs. What will I do? I will first show them a few pictures and I will ask them a few questions. Maybe I can start with a group discussion or a class discussion at the larger level. I may ask them, like, why these pictures they appear appealing to them, and even they can talk about what kind of shot it has been taken, whether it is mid shot, it's wide shot, it's long shot, how it is taken, what about the light and all. So these factors will be explained later. Then we will be talking about different angles, the camera setting, etc. First I will ask why these pictures they appeal a lot to them. I will ask them. So moving ahead from particular to general, start with the concrete examples first, like case studies and the real life situations, and then we will come to generalization. For example, when we talk about school health and wellness program, or maybe disaster management, and even CBSE also, we talk about certain case studies, like what will you do if you would be in that kind of situation. And we will ask for different opinions, different answers, and then we come to any kind of conclusion. We generalize based on best suitable response. So after multiple examples, when they identify the pattern, then only you will be able to introduce the general concepts. This approach aligns with how the brain functions. You know how our brain processes the information. First it connects with the particular things, then only it moves on to the general things. For example, when we talk about sciences, first we engage the students in experiments, and then we introduce different theories or the principles. In mathematics also, first we give them examples of some solved examples before even derivation of the formulas. So do you agree that learning is more effective when students see the bigger picture first? Yes. This maxim, whole to part, suggests that we first see the whole picture and then focus on the details. For example, suppose when your friend organizes a surprise birthday party for you, you first see the party as a whole. Then you notice the finer details, like who attended, who took care of the decorations and the food and the gifts, etc. So in teaching, let us consider, I maybe talk about any kind of concept, and first I discuss the bigger picture, like there was a particular historian, and why this World War II happened and its impact. This gives the students overall idea, and then as a teacher I will be able to delve into more details, talking about the specific events, what happened during that particular situation. So if we talk here, we will be able to give them the bigger picture first, and then breaking them into the smaller components, just like we recognize a face before we identify the individual features. first, you whenever you see my picture or see my video, you are able to recognize me, my face. And then you talk about the individual features, how do I look, how are my eyes, how do I speak, and all individual features we talk about later. First you recognize a face, right? This is how we move from whole to part, right? So even narrating stories before analyzing characters, theme, grammar, right, plot, etc. So this enhances comprehension, retention, and logical connection between different parts, right? And we can explain the entire ecosystem before studying the individual components. First we talk about the ecosystem when we have taken the example, right? Ecosystem. Then we talk about the individual components, about the flora, about the fauna, and with climatic conditions, etc. First we take look at the bigger picture to ensure the whole is presented in very simple and engaging manner before going into the detail of the different parts. So the bigger picture matters a lot. Let's talk about indefinite to definite maxim. What does it say? This maxim suggests that teachers should clarify uncertain knowledge and address the students' questions, right? For instance, in mathematics, there are numerous formulae in a syllabus. However, as a teacher, it's our duty to highlight which ones are important, right? Means there are number of the formulae as per age group, as per class, as per a particular exam that they're going to appear in, what formulas they need to focus on first. Additionally, we will be able to talk about the relevant formulas, and then we can address their doubts, right? Moving from vague, general, broad ideas, and then moving ahead to clear, precise, well defined concepts. Grasp the knowledge in an indefinite way and then refine understanding later on over time. First we will have rough idea, like we will have rough idea, rough draft of something, and slowly and gradually we refine it, we polish it, right? So this is how we can talk about even the journal observations. First we have when we talk about a particular genre, and then we go ahead with talking about the different species. For example, if we're talking about the birds, what are the different features of the bird? We're talking about indefinite means larger picture. And then we talk about under this genre there comes species. The particular species, if we talk about, right, and then what are the features of that particular species, maybe in flora or maybe in fauna, right? As I've given an example of when we talk about the bigger picture, all birds have feathers, and then we come to the crow, the parrot, the eagle, what kind of feathers do they have, what kind of beak do they have. So moving from indefinite to definite, so students first recognize words in a speech before they understand the exact grammar rules. Like they'll learn the mother tongue, the regional language, before knowing even the grammar, right? First they know like how they have to communicate in their own language. They don't go to school, they don't learn the grammar, but still they are able to frame very good sentences in their own language after they listen, right? So learning becomes structured as vague ideas, they are shaped into precise, slowly and gradually, right? Vague ideas they have first, and then slowly and gradually we shape them into precise knowledge. So this encourages critical thinking because we are able to refine the broader ideas into the definite ideas. So this is also based on human cognition because brain works naturally, it absorbs whatever is available in the surroundings, and slowly and gradually the impressions that are made on that, we align them into a structured form. So this is all about indefinite to definite maxim. Start with the mind first. Let's talk about psychological to logical. Everything is all about mind. Even when we talk about what is happiness, it's all about our mindset, right? Whenever we feel pain, we have fever, whatever, I know, I do understand our body doesn't support us in that time, but everything is here right? It's all about mindset. So this maxim suggests that initially a teacher should emphasize understanding emotions, the psychological aspects, and as the learners progress slowly and gradually, then there should be transition towards logical thinking, right? And even if you talk about in balvatika, preschool, kindergarten, as teachers we use emotions, stories to introduce the concept like sharing, honesty, maybe other values. So as the students mature, they grow up, they move to more structured and logical lessons such as maybe solving math problems step by step, right? Computational thinking, etc. I mean, one by one we introduce other skills, the other competencies they are built in the children. But first what do we do is we build the mindset of the student psychologically. Readiness is to be very very important. So begin by understanding students mental abilities, their interest, pk's previous knowledge, like focus on the learner's psychological readiness first. Use stories, visuals, activities before introducing the logics. So from simple psychological understanding to structured logical analysis, a positive emotional connection when it is made with the students, no, it boosts the retention and motivation. So actually we can talk about psychological to logical is mind to method. First work on mind and then come to the method. Let them grasp a concept psychologically and after that present it in a logical or systematical manner for a deeper understanding. The next maxim, analysis to synthesis, means breaking down complex tasks into the smaller parts to understand them. That is analysis. Like analysis, breaking down something into the smaller parts and then understand. And whatever we have broken down, we have to assemble it, right? Moving from analysis to synthesis. As per Bloom's taxonomy, now synthesis we talk about creating something new, innovative, right? Making some innovations in the already existing some object or any some theory or concept with our more innovation, more research. Like breaking down, you know very well, it is called analysis, and then reassembling is called synthesis, right? So grasp the complex ideas by first understanding the components, right? Whatever the bigger picture is there, you have to now look at the details, the smaller parts, and then you reassemble it. This is called analysis to synthesis. How we can create something new? First we have to understand the basic structure of a particular object or an item or an equipment or a machine, whatever it is. So break down the problem and then construct the solutions on their own. Whenever any word problem we give to our students in mathematics, we ask our students to break it down step by step, note down what is given, what you have to find, how you can do that, what are the different methodologies that you can use. So we break it down and then we assemble, right? For example, mathematics, I have already shared with you, breaking equation into different steps. In science, understanding elements before understanding compounds. If you know the periodic table different elements, right, you are able to understand their configuration, you know about their atomic numbers, then you go ahead with formation of the compounds, right? And in literature, analyze the themes before interpretation. So learning is not just memorization, but it is analyzing, understanding, and reaching the highest level of Bloom's taxonomy, which is called creating or synthesis. So now let's talk about the importance of understanding nature, multiple senses, and self study. We will be covering three topics now, right? Nature, when we talk about, we can take in two senses. First, we can talk about the nature means the learning style of the child. We as teachers need to understand what is the learning style of the child, and accordingly we need to incorporate different kind of strategies in our teaching learning process. And secondly, we can also talk about nature is connecting the children's learning with the real life, right? Connecting it with the nature. Let them learn from the natural experiences, the natural phenomena. Next, we talk about multiple senses. Research says the more senses we involve, the better will be the learning, right? So more senses should be involved in teaching learning process. We should be able to give them some audio, video, kinesthetic, like read and write, this kinds of experiences as per VARK's model, VARK, visual, auditory, right, read and write, and kinesthetic, as many senses as possible. Now coming to self study, we all have been asking our students to go ahead, spend some time. Self study is really very important, it has its own importance. This helps students feel confident and intelligent as they engage in independent learning. So this was all about the different kinds of senses that we have discussed in this slide, like all the five senses to be involved. And we talk about different kinds of maxims of teaching. Include these different maxims of teaching in your teaching learning strategies as per the need, as per the requirement, as per the topic that you are dealing with, and as per the different age groups you deal with. So, thank you, my lovely teachers, for watching, staying tuned to my channel, and I even thank you for subscribing my channel and even for sharing my videos, for your likes, for your views. Keep sharing and even spreading information in your groups too, so that we can reach a larger community. See you tomorrow again, same time, 4 p.m.